Hello and welcome. Now this is going to be my review of the Kershaw Half Ton. Okay, it's a knife by Kershaw. It's I think on their website they call it a short, chubby knife. Yeah, I think you can politically correctly use those terms, but there we go. We'll hit it off with some specifications. The overall length, open that is 6 inches or 15.5 centimeters. The blade length is 2.7 inches or 6.8 centimeters. The cutting edge is 2.5 inches or 6.3 centimeters, and the weight is 3.2 ounces or 93 grams. So for its size, it's a bit hefty, but it's not too heavy to weigh you down. Okay, let's talk about the handle scales first of all. They are glass-filled nylon. These are red handle scales. I don't think they come in other colours. Don't quote me on that, but I haven't seen any. And they also have these non-slip inserts, which are kind of rubber. They're not glass-filled nylon. Okay, so it's quite grippy. It's quite grippy. The glass-filled nylon is a bit slippery, but you do have the logo on one side that does offer you a bit of rubber grip. Okay, which is what you'd expect really for that. The pocket clip, just to mention, is tip down only. Okay. Carry, and it's only on one side. You can't put the pocket clip on the other side, or you can't have it tip up carry either. Okay. Now we'll talk about the pocket clip. Actually, talk about the cool factor of that. It's a very nice pocket clip. As you can see, it kind of resembles a spanner and a hex bit, I suppose. If you look at Exacto's video, I think he has taken this off himself and used it as a functional tool. It's hardly the best tool, but hey, he's tried it. It can be used as a functional tool. Thought I'd mention that, but it does look pretty cool. Adds to the cool factor, and it adds to the overall look of the knife in that it is a worker, a beater knife. You probably use this out and about. Tool shop, something like that, I don't know, but there we go. Okay, so deployment, it's dual thumb studs, ambidextrous. I would point out that they're quite sharp, the discs. I would much prefer them to diagonally slice them, if you know what I'm talking about, but as you can see, it does jab into your thumb a bit, and it's not the most comfortable, but luckily you can get a nail under there and deploy it quite quick. So it can be quite a quick deployment. Mine came a little bit stiff, no problem. Just unscrew the pivot a little bit. As you can see, blade centering is slightly off because I did that, but it allows for a looser deployment, a quicker deployment, and the speed is very nice and quick as well. Okay, you wouldn't probably use this as a self-defense role anyway. It's mainly EDC, hard cutting, all the rest of it. So that's the deployment. The lockup is it's a Walker liner lock, as you can see there. It's just on time, not late or early, which is nice, and it's quite easy to close and lock again. Okay, so that's that. A bit quick mention on the liners. As you can see, they're not skeletonized whatsoever. It's a flow-through design. It's good for getting away any dirt or grime that builds up in there. I would have rather it be skeletonized. That would have reduced the weight a fair bit on this, because it is quite a chubby knife. But there we go. It seems quite solid, the lockup, and the ergonomics. It's quite comfortable. There is jimping on the spine of the handle there, on the top, and on the liner itself there, the lock. Now, ergonomic wise, as I said, quite comfortable. However, your pinky kind of rests on this end bit of the scale, and I do feel whenever I hold this knife for a cutting task or whatever, because there's this area of my palm, I do feel like I'm running out of handle real estate pretty quick. So, well, for me, regardless of the lock, I don't think I'd use it for really hard cutting tasks, just because there's just not enough handle for me personally. I've got large hands to hold on to and to keep that knife securely. But hey, you know, your mileage may vary, as some people say. But there you go. That's the ergonomic side of it. Okay, so the steel, quite important to some people, especially me as well. The steel is the 8CR13 MOV. It's a good steel. I like how Kershaw have left this satin finish. Yeah, it's more prone to scratches and things, but a lot less susceptible to a lot of their knives where they bead blast the hell out of their blades. But so I'm pleased that they've kept it satin, and it's a decent enough steel, which means it's quite easy to sharpen, and it does hold an okay edge. I mean, you can get it quite sharp. Okay, it is made in China. If that's a problem, well, you know, pay more really, because this knife is quite cheap. Okay, I'll talk about the price in a little while. Okay, but the blade shape, it's quite fat with a decent amount of belly. I'll do some comparisons. Okay, obviously we'd compare it to the 1 ton. Okay, that's it next to that, just to give you a size comparison. It's yeah, it's just a mini version really, with but there we go. As you can see, the difference in blades, the 1 ton Kershaw have bead blasted. However, I have noticed a few speckles of rust already, and that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of against bead blasting altogether, because you have to oil the knives a lot if you put a bead blasted finish on it. But there we go, that's bead blasted. This one isn't. We'll also compare it to another Kershaw knife, the Skyline. Okay, that's how it weighs up next to that. Sorry about this, camera just went off center. Okay, so there we go. That's how it compares to the Skyline. As you can see, it's also shorter. Okay, and finally, just for comparison's sake, we'll compare it to a Spyderco Tenacious, which some might say is another ultimate beta knife, and a Spyderco UK PK. Okay, which is there. All right, so that's the size wise. It kind of runs. It's smaller than both of them really, but the blade is quite thick. Now the knife I would compare it to the most, I suppose, not for price, just for size and things, is probably the Spyderco Ambitious here. Okay, quite similar, except for the price, but same steel, more or less. Both got 8CR13 MOV, and similar where your pinky can't ride anywhere, and similar jimping. But there we go. I'd compare it to that out of all the knives I own anyway. But there we go. So price wise, yeah, I would say the price reflects this knife quite well. You can pick this up here in the UK for about £15, which is quite cheap really. It's decent for £15. I definitely wouldn't pay £20 for it. But yeah, there you go. It's not UK legal because it does lock. It's a locking knife, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, for the price, I suppose in America it's probably what, $10–15, and that is just remarkable. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to buy a locking knife with 8CR13 MOV for around that price. That you just, you know, it's up to you. You can lose it and not really be that bothered, because it's so cheap, and you can abuse it quite a lot because, you know, because of that price point. Okay, and I do like the pocket clip. It's quite neat. Okay, so there we go. You know, please comment, rate and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching. Take care.